A student left stranded at the airport for breaking school policy.
I gave my child to Cherry Creek and trusted them with his care, and they let me down.
No call to parents and no arrangements made to get him home. Tonight, Denver 7 is pressing for answers. Just days after the anniversary of the death of Elijah McClain, we're learning his autopsy has been amended.
I've never seen an autopsy report amended. Autopsy reports are public.
We're following the new developments and what's behind the rare revision. Colorado's cannabis industry is feeling the strain of slowing sales.
For medical cannabis, for folks who are immunocompromised or disabled, this is a real problem.
How it could impact medical marijuana patients who need it the most.
It's about access to medicine.
Hey there, good evening, and thank you for watching Denver 7 News on Local 3. I'm Jessica Porter.
And I'm Amy Wattis. A Cherry Creek High School student's mom is furious after she says her son was abandoned by his coaches and school leaders at Denver International Airport this afternoon.
She acknowledges her son did forget to take a small knife out of his backpack before going through TSA screening. But she says that's no excuse for what happened next.
Both she and her son talked to Denver 7's Rob Harris at DIA this evening.
Pamela Stegall says she was already nervous dropping off her son Bryson here at DIA this afternoon because he's never flown on his own before. But Bryson really wanted to join his football teammates in Ohio for their game this weekend, so she gave him her blessing. Now Bryson says he had forgotten that there was a small knife in the pocket of his backpack. The knife was detected by TSA during screening. So with the TSA agent, Bryson mailed the knife to his home address, went through screening again, and then trekked to his gate with the rest of his team. Just minutes before his flight, Bryson says his athletic director told him the district would no longer allow him on the trip, and he would need to find his own way home. Now by that point, his mom was already 2 hours away from DIA, so Bryson had to make his way back to the ticketing counter area and wait for his mom for hours alone.
This whole issue and the way this happened should not have happened to my child. And had he been hurt or had he gone missing, there would have been no one to answer for it.
Stegall says she's an educator and she understands that weapons of any kind have to be taken seriously by school administrators. But she says that's no excuse for the way this situation was handled today, especially leaving her son alone at DIA. So tonight at 10 o'clock on Denver 7, we're going to hear more of my conversation with Stegall and her son Bryson and how Bryson feels about his coach, his teammates, and his school after this happened. For Denver 7, I'm Rob Harris.
All right, Rob, thank you. The autopsy report for Elijah McClain has been amended. He's the 23-year-old man who died after being placed in a carotid hold by police and injected with large amounts of ketamine. 3 officers and 2 paramedics have been indicted in McClain's death. Their arraignment is in November. Colorado Public Radio first broke the news of the amended autopsy report, which Denver 7 was able to independently confirm. However, we don't know at this point what exactly was changed. McClain's cause and manner of death were ruled as undetermined on the original report. We spoke with a former district attorney who says amending the report is rare.
What's extremely strange about this is that, the one thing, amending it, okay, that's rare. Amending it months or potentially a year after after there's been a determination made by the district attorney, that's very rare. And that's, in my opinion, very strange.
Because autopsy reports are public, CPR has filed a lawsuit which Denver 7 and other local media outlets plan to join, compelling the coroner to release the amended autopsy.
Developing now, an investigation is underway after a police shooting at a Fort Collins apartment complex. This was near Stewart and Welch Streets. Fort Collins police say a suspect who had a felony warrant for burglary was in one of the apartments. When police arrived, they say the suspect tried to escape by jumping from the balcony. When police entered the apartment, they say there were other people inside, including a man with a gun. During the encounter, an officer shot the armed man. He was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. No officers were hurt.
Weld County deputies are looking for 2 people involved in a road rage shooting near Platteville today. This was along US 85, just north of Highway 60 between Platteville and Gilcrest. One person was shot during the incident. Deputies have not given details on who that person is. Now they're looking for a dark blue Toyota Tundra made between 2007 and 2013. They're also looking for a man and a woman who likely are still armed. If you know anything, call deputies.
Turning now to the job market. The August jobs report out today showed 315,000 jobs were added last month. That's down from nearly 530,000 in July. The Federal Reserve has been raising interest rates to slow hiring and wage growth in an effort to stop high inflation. The unemployment rate rose to 3.7%, up from 3.5% the month prior, as more Americans are now entering the labor market looking for work. The Colorado Future Center at CSU released its Colorado Cast economic report today, looking at our state's labor market. And experts say they see some bright spots.
And those bright spots are that we've been adding jobs at a pretty healthy rate, and that the Colorado consumer has largely held up, that there's just a bit of warning on the horizon, that we need to be prepared that some of the headwinds that are facing the national and the world economies that we've heard about, inflation, the war in Ukraine, supply chain issues, are starting to hit the Colorado economy as well.
Phyllis Resnick believes we will see a slowdown in the Colorado economy, but she's cautiously optimistic that our state will avoid a recession.
Colorado's Department of Revenue says sales are continuing to drop in medical marijuana.
And experts say they're worried about people with health conditions getting access to the treatment they need.
I spoke with experts today to get their concerns. They say patients are paying more in taxes for similar products at recreational facilities.
This is the lowest they've been since the legalization of rec. I'm very worried.
Worried is an understatement for Truman Bradley, the executive director of the Marijuana Industry Group, a trade association in Colorado that provides support for marijuana-related businesses and believes in safe access to clean products for all Coloradans and its visitors. To give you some context, according to the State Department of Revenue, medical marijuana sales in the state in June of this year were $19.2 million, dropping from $34.5 million in June of 2021, a 44% drop. Bradley believes the industry is suffering for a number of reasons.
On the medical side, some very strict purchase limits came in. You know, for pharmaceuticals, patients can get up to a 1-month supply, but for medical cannabis, they're daily purchase limits. For folks who are immunocompromised or disabled, this is a real problem.
Which he says is making some patients resort to buying recreational marijuana, which is costing them more money due to the higher tax base, and pushing some medical marijuana businesses to shut its doors, like Buddy Boy dispensaries and Mile High Green Cross, closing their locations over the last few months. The city of Denver says it's seen a decline in people applying for a medical marijuana license over the last 5 years, citing similar reasons.
We think it might be because people just don't want to go through the hassle of getting their medical card. They rather just walk down the street and go to a recreational dispensary.
Stats from Denver's annual marijuana report show the city had 731 active licensed marijuana businesses in January of 2014 and is currently at 433 as of January of this year.
I think really what some people are wondering if there is an oversaturation of marijuana market in Denver. We have a lot of stores, and whether it be medical or recreational.
Bradley says the recreational industry is also taking a hit.
Recreational sales are a significant portion of the tax revenue, but recreational sales are down over 20% as well. There's a real attack on the industry right now.
Saying things like inflation and increasing taxes is contributing to that. So he's hopeful the industry will make an upward trend before things get worse. I reached out to the state's Medical Enforcement Division, which regulates the medical and retail industries in Colorado, to see what they have to say about the decline in medical sales and if there's anything that can be done to stop the decline from happening. They said they don't have anything to contribute at this time.
I didn't know where to turn, and I thought my banking institution would be there to support me.
Zelle scams draining thousands of dollars from Coloradans' accounts. They shared their concerns with Contact Denver 7 so we can take them to the bank.
What securities has Blue FCU implemented to try to mitigate some of this?
Mid-90s today, even hotter weather on the way for the holiday weekend.
Plus, little entrepreneurs getting a hand with achieving their big business dreams.
I wanted to start it to bring groups together and to bring our community together.